Yo, 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 what's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to Nerds on Culture for this Monday, October 17th, 2022. And this is number 19 in the series of Nerds on Culture, where we're having a discussion this evening Marvel slash DCEU cast and recast conversation. A lot of people are into the Marvel and DC films. The comics come to life in live action movies from these two companies that present the most notable of characters, as we know, the Spider-Man films and the Batman films and Justice League, Avengers, and so forth. But there have been certain decisions made corporate wise and behind the scenes that a lot of people, if you don't follow it like us nerds do, you will find that you may wonder, like, why haven't you seen a film with this particular character, or what happened to a different actor that was playing a particular character? So this evening is going to be a bit of a discussion on that, and hopefully for some of you that are out there in the chat that participate with conversation in the chat, you may have some information if you follow like we do, and we can kind of shed some light on what's been going on or what's to happen in the near future. One of the things that we've seen most recently is there's going to be a film by DC coming very soon with Black Adam, and that will be starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as the title character. Now, Black Adam, for those of you that follow the comics, you will know that Black Adam is a major character in the DC comics that is a villain slash anti-hero who has been very prominent with superpowers equal to that of Shazam and Superman. And so Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was signed to play this character by Warner Brothers in DC almost 10 years ago. And the film was in production hell for a number of years, but it was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson who really wanted to see this film brought to light, and he stuck with the project through various corporate executives who have come and gone since he originally signed the deal to appear in a film starring this character. And he also made it part of his ambition that his character would at least have to face off. Eventually, he has to meet Superman and the Justice League. So people got very excited when The Rock has said that his character, the Black Adam, would be taking over the DCEU, and a new hierarchy of authority would take place with his appearance. So, and like I said, it was years in the making. So this month, on the 21st, Black Adam will make its way to the movie screens. And I have to say, this is very interesting because however his film goes will really hold in the balance of what we see in the future. But just let it be known and said that at this particular time and moment, The Rock has done his part to really bring home what audiences, fans want to see of the DCEU. And it's highly anticipated. I can't stress that enough. I want to say that to see The Rock square off against Henry Cavill, who we know as Superman in the DCEU, there's even a drama-filled story behind that. So we'll get into a little bit of a discussion on that as well. But I'm going to take a quick moment and go into our chat and recognize some of the family that has come into the building with us this evening. We're waiting on Drew Titan, who's finishing up something personally, and he'll be joining us in a moment. So we had Healer, the teacher, out there saying salute to you, Healer. I hope that you fared successful in your endeavors over this past weekend. I didn't get any updates or anything on it yet, so I really hope that everything turned out well for you. Shower Allah's out there saying, Sensei, salute chat, salute to you. Good to see you out there. William, old school, is out there saying, salute Stormybman, my brother, and y'all smash the like button, people, when entering the building. Peace. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Smash that like button. And Flawless Mentality, Dr. Mark, is in the building saying, salute to the God, the Sensei Stormybman, my brother from another mother, fam, and the gods and beautiful goddesses of the mighty LDBC Marvel family. He say Marvel. You just left DC off of there, huh, Flawless? What's up with that, Dr. Mark? Are you biased? Are we detecting a little bias there, sir? What's up with that? Theseus GQ is out there saying The Rock saved the DCEU. Well, we hope, we don't count the chickens before they hatched, because his film premieres this week, and we will find out if The Rock can truly save the DCEU. For now, he has assisted tremendously in putting the DCEU back on track, because the old corporate executives there, man, they did not know what they wanted to do. They had no plan. I really want to get into that story with you, but I'm kind of holding tight for Drew because I want him to be a part of that conversation. But yeah, I've got my tickets already for the opening of this film, Black Adam. I intend to support The Rock for what he's doing. And like I said, this film has been, he signed to play this character over 10 years ago, people. Can you imagine that? The best thing about that we can say is that the special effects that are a part of these type of films, the technology behind it has gotten so much better that the actors don't have to do a lot at all anymore. There's tons of CGI. There's tons of settings and environments that they can create to make all of these stories come to life. And it's an amazing thing. For those of you that can remember when The Rock played in that spinoff film from The Mummy, where he was playing that one CGI character, and the special effects were so horrible at that time. It didn't look like him at all. It looked like a cartoon caricature of him. And if they were to do that today, it would look totally different. But it's, man, all I can say is thank goodness for the advancement of certain technologies. There you go. Dubs the Great, Scorpion King. That film, and that's what kind of really brought it down. The special effects were so horrible. It was like the ideology of the film, what they wanted to do based on the Mummy films. It was a spinoff. The Scorpion King, the way that they had to go about it, the technology just wasn't there yet for it. And that's one of the things that you have to credit a producer like Kevin Feige. with Marvel Studios, because when the technology was not quite there, they held back on telling certain types of stories and kept their characters grounded, where they could still get away with doing some things but not going flat all out. And he allowed the technology to catch up. One of the reasons we didn't see Thanos early on, even though we saw at the end of the first Avengers film back in 2012, we saw a close-up of Thanos's face turn to the camera and give his famous smirk. But that was it. We didn't see him again until many years later, after they had kind of perfected the special effects for the Hulk, because Thanos is a character that's of a great size like the Hulk. And by the time we were able to see him again, which I do believe was in the Guardians of the Galaxy film, or was it Avengers Age of Ultron? I think it was in the end credit sequence. Yeah, Avengers Age of Ultron, where we got a chance to see Thanos and we saw him reach into the his little, I don't know what you call it. It was a cage or something where he had the Infinity Gauntlet and he said, fine, I'll do it myself. And he put the gauntlet on. That was many years later, but the special effects had caught up to a degree where they could begin to show him physically on screen instead of just a close-up of the face, because the actor who had that prosthetic makeup on and everything was not James Brolin. Thanos hadn't even been cast at that time, which is why we never heard him speak prior to then and everything. It was just his name announced and you know, that presence from the first Avengers film. So special effects played a great role in why Marvel didn't just go buck wild with trying to do these films, knowing that the technology wasn't there to make these characters more realistic. So yeah, but back to the chat there, we had Dubs the Great out there saying Man of Steel was underrated. To me, yes, it was. Man of Steel is one of the best comic book films ever. I love the retelling of the Superman story. I love the intro of the film, how they presented Krypton and how that everything based on Krypton was organic. These were people who basically lived from the surface into the internal portions of the planet, and they had an equilibrium with their animal and wildlife that parlayed into everything they did and mixed in with their technology. Man of Steel is a film that is very underrated, Dubs the Great. You are absolutely correct when you say that. And yeah, one of these days I might even do a focal point on that film, because it was, and for a retelling of Superman's story and bringing him up to date, I think that they did a great job. Zack Snyder with the story that he told and everything, and also how they utilized the special effects. Even check this out. Think about this, people. And I see Drew. I get you in just a second, brother. When you know, the jokes have always been made about Superman and other superheroes with their super suits on, right, or whatever, and they call them their pajamas or whatever. Well, on Krypton, that was basically what their costume attire was. It was like the Kryptonians wore a garb that basically had a family crest on it, which is what you see on his chest, and then the makeup of it. And some of them had robes and capes and things like that, headpieces. I love how Zack Snyder put all of that in there, because when he came to Earth and he became a man, and when he found the Kryptonian ship and everything, and they started to tell the story, his suit has its own backstory. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like he just made a costume and jump out the window and say, I'm Superman, I'm here to save the day. No, they actually gave background to the story and building that whole telling of the character. And I loved how they did that. So it was pretty good. So I want to say salute to my brother Drew Titan is in the building now. What's good with you, Drew? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. My apologies. My daughter had homework. So
no. I saw your messages, so I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and kind of, you know, get everybody pressed up on what we're going to be doing this evening. The focal point being cast and recast conversation on what's happening in the Marvel and DCEU universes cinematically, because there's a lot of news that's floating around out there for those who love these franchises and who may not follow them like we do, but at the same time, there's information that will help people kind of understand what's going on a little bit. Like I just got even more information today that it's like, let's just take it back, because I introduced everyone talking about The Rock signing to play Black Adam over 10 years ago.
Right.
You know, and it's been 10 years in the making. And this week on the 21st, Friday, the film opens cinematically. And I was telling everybody I got my tickets for Thursday night, so I'm going to the pre-screening. That's the nerd in me. But let me just say this. The Rock, he understands damage control. And he's been talking. The closer we've gotten to the release of his film, because there's no turning back now. Remember, we've had DC shelve some projects, push projects back, films that are already done and complete. They've pushed them back on the schedule, and we don't understand why. The corporate bigwigs hadn't said anything, but we do know that there was a transition where a new corporate takeover had happened. And I don't like to get into that aspect of things too much, but just to explain it, the old corporate executives who were around basically when Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman and the Justice League got released to the theaters, they didn't like to go forward with those characters because they felt that the box office didn't make what they thought it should make. And at the end of the day, The Rock has revealed just in the past couple of weeks, they fired Henry Cavill. That's why they never made a Man of Steel 2. They never made anything else with him. He hasn't played Superman since 2017, when the Justice League film finished and got released cinematically. So it's like people have always asked Henry Cavill, hey, you know, when's the next Superman film coming? And he's always been a trooper. And when I shared that, I just got the information today that he was fired. They didn't even fire him because they didn't like him. They didn't fire him because I thought like something happened with him behind the scenes or something. They basically fired him because the movie didn't make $1 billion. And people loved Henry Cavill's Superman. It's like they didn't like Brandon Routh, you know, and they feel so about the guy that's even playing him on TV right now. But people liked Henry Cavill. But the executives, the old executives, the old guard, they were like, they expected Man of Steel to do close to $1 billion. It didn't. They expected Batman versus Superman to do $1 billion because the two top DC characters in one film coming together, it didn't do $1 billion. It did under $1 billion. And they got angry and they just said, no more Henry Cavill.
They got angry at the actors?
Huh?
They got angry at the actor?
Yes. And they also got angry at Ben Affleck. Which I'm going to say this, people. Someone can disagree with me. But Christian Bale was a pretty darn good Batman.
Yeah.
But I loved the way Zack Snyder handled Ben Affleck's Batman. And I was like, that Batman was scary because it's like you wouldn't want to meet him in the dark alley because he's gonna whoop your butt and possibly kill you.
He pulled it off. He pulled it off.
Saying? Ben Affleck was a damn good Batman, and I thought when he got cast that, you know, I was like, oh, Ben Affleck, come on, because I remember his Daredevil film. Remember with him and John Favreau playing Happy you know, I'm like, dude. But let me say this: when I saw Batman versus Superman in the theaters, I was like, Zack Snyder must have secretly wanted to make a Batman film because Batman was so prevalent in that film. It was the strongest character, basically. And then I later find out it's exactly what Zack Snyder had always wanted to do. He had always wanted to do his own treatment of Batman. And he went back to McFarlane's Batman. Remember the Dark Knight from the comics? And he drew on that storyline for the Batman that he brought into the DCEU. And I thought it was great, man. An older, more chiseled, you know, grizzled Bruce Wayne. And check this out, just for a fun fact, Drew, if you didn't know this, there was a huge campaign when they were looking to cast Batman for Batman versus Superman. There was a huge campaign for Scott Adkins to play Bruce Wayne because he's a real life martial artist. And, you know, Bruce Wayne is supposed to be a martial artist. But Scott Adkins didn't have enough of the pull of an actor's name at that time. Because remember, that goes back almost 10 years ago, too. So it's like, you know, they were kind of struggling like who they would cast. And they wanted someone with a solid name. And of course, Ben Affleck's name is a little more solid than Scott Adkins. You have to know action films and movies, particularly geared toward shoot 'em up and martial arts, to know who Scott Adkins is. But yeah, I know I've been running my mouth a little bit. I like to bring you on in and allow you to say some things, whatever you want to, you know, touch on at this time. But I just thought I would drop that little fun fact in there about Scott Adkins.
Yeah, this is the first time me hearing about the Superman situation. This is, you know, he was paid to do a job. He shows up. He does the job. I was very satisfied. And you're right, it is an underrated film. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like I blew my money or wasted my time, or it was 2 hours of some odd change that I couldn't get back of my life that I couldn't get back. I enjoyed it. I didn't see a problem with it. I believe they made their money back that they put into the film, which is what you're always looking for. And they made some money off the film, but it didn't reach the expectations. But I don't understand how that's his fault.
And it's not.
It's
not his fault.
It was a good film. I don't recall the exact numbers, but if they broke even, that's even, you know, pretty good. But if they have money left over, you know, that's even better. But if it didn't meet the expectations, maybe they see you in these movies. It's always great if you under promise and overachieve. Like Man of Steel made
$668 million.
And what did they put into the film? How much money did it cost to make the film?
Batman versus Superman made $872 million.
What was
how much they put in? Let's see. I'm looking at Box Office Mojo. Let's see.
Because that's important. If it cost them 100 mil and they made 600.
I'm trying to see. The budget was 225 million.
So they made about 400 million in profit.
Right.
About that. So that's a win. What the fuck was they expecting to make?
Dude, this is okay. Take, for example, Marvel when they did Thor, the first one.
Yeah.
That was going to be a shaky film. They weren't really certain what it would do. but Thor made like 400 something million, which was more than what they thought, you know. Let me see. I'm typing in Thor right now to see what it did.
So if Batman versus Superman did 800, and let me
They
guess,
were on their way. It's you know, the box office is growing. This is called
Right.
building a universe. Yeah, Thor made it had a budget of 150 million
Mhm.
through Paramount, distributed by Paramount and under Marvel, and it brought in worldwide 449 million.
And okay, so their budget was what, 150?
150, yeah.
And they made 400.
Yep.
They made their money back, and they had some profit to sit on.
Profit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
And-
same thing with Batman versus Superman. Their budget was probably, let's say it was 200, and they made 800. They had to make a profit. Why are you firing people? Stop confusing the fans. And there's like 30 different Supermen on TV, and now they merging universes and stuff. I mean, come on now. What are you
No,
doing?
let me go back and correct myself. Man of Steel, on a budget of 225 million, made worldwide 668 million.
So they made about 400 million,
Yeah,
give or take.
yeah.
That's fine. What were they expecting?
Crazy.
Titanic money?
Crazy. It just, you know what? It just goes to show those studio execs. And how about them messing with the director's finished project? Because both Batman versus Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League, we found out much later that they had him trim the films down, because basically Zack Snyder made movies like Peter Jackson when he was making the Lord of the Rings films. He had a lot of exposition and backstory and stuff mixed in with a ton of action. These films were action based, but he had enough of storytelling in there that would, you know, it explained everything.
Right.
So they were telling him, well, keep the action, but cut some of that exposition, get that out of there. And so, like, that's why the director's cut of both Batman versus Superman and later Zack Snyder's Justice League, which they did not want to release at all. The Batman versus Superman is like 30 minutes longer than the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
The Batman versus, the Justice League film, Zack Snyder's Justice League, is like a 4-hour film.
But let me ask you, when you watched it, didn't it feel like it wasn't that long?
It felt like maybe a 3-hour film.
They were filling in a lot of holes, because I remember watching it there. I was like, well, you know, they're missing. They could have did this, and when the director's cut came out, I was like, oh, they should have left it like that.
Yeah,
I think they got. I want to know how much money they made when they released it, the director's cut.
Well, remember, they didn't release it theatrically. They released it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
And then much later came the Blu-ray. They didn't do it like they were supposed to do it because those executives didn't want to release it. Listen, they held on to that until it was time for the merger, for the changeover. Yeah. And I had read on this, it's still fresh in my mind. They didn't release that because they had a certain period of the year that the executives were going to get their profits. They didn't want anything to go out. They wanted everything to come in. In other words, they wanted to take the bag and run when they knew that the new corporate exec, Warner Brothers was being bought out. They stopped and cut budgets on films and everything. Films like Shazam, films like Aquaman and the Flash film, which has been in production forever. Those films took big hits because those greedy executives, man. I tell you about, if you saw Wonder Woman, that No Man's Land scene where she walks across the field to take on the army and everything, and that's a very heroic moment and everything, when they really see Wonder Woman do her stuff for the first time. They wanted Patty Jenkins to cut that scene out.
If you cut that scene out, you lose the movie.
Out of the film. And she told them, if you cut this scene, I will never make another film for you ever. Dude, it was crazy.
If you cut that scene out, you kill the movie. What do you do without that scene?
I have these films in my collection, and I like to put them on a day when I'm not doing much or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And chat, I'm talking to all of you guys. When I watched that scene where Wonder Woman, you know, she's with the guys in the military, and they're going through the war scene, and she's looking at the injured people and everything, and she's like, what's going on? He's like, we're getting close to the heat of the battle. He's like, these are the people who are casualties of the war, and we've been pinned down for months here. We haven't moved an inch. And she looks around and see all this devastation and death and everything, and she had this like little fur thing on, you know. I know you've seen the movie, but I mean, she took that off and put that tiara on, man, and she let her hair down, and she started climbing up the ladder out of the trench to go up on the field where the battle was taking place. And Steve was telling her, Diana, what are you doing? And she was like, I can't let this. She went out there and they started shooting at her, and she was blocking the bullets and stuff, and then they was shooting bombs, and she was knocking them down with her shield, and she started running across the field. The guys all looked, and they were like, she's taking the hits. She, you know, they's like, let's go. And they ran in behind her. It was such a heroic moment. But you know what I loved about this movie more than anything? And I'm nerding out when I'm talking about this. Not only did that scene give me goosebumps, because I knew what we were seeing for the first time. We were seeing a woman superhero on screen, right? But no one ever said throughout that movie how can this woman do all of this? They just bought into it. You know what I'm saying? It's like there was never that thing, even though, you know, they're looking like, what, you know, but it's like, because it's obvious, man. It's a comic book character.
It's a comic book character.
And Patty Jenkins used Richard Donner's Superman the movie as like a byline with Clark Kent Superman, Diana and Wonder Woman. She used that story byline to kind of help that, and it worked very well. It worked very well. So, you know, those executives, man, I'm glad they're gone, and so glad that what DC has coming down the pipeline, it may be, you know, far better. That
you think
can breathe again?
Do you think this Shazam film, being that it's taking place, based off of what I saw, it's taking place before everything that's happening so far, what we've seen? Meaning, you remember in the Shazam movie where there was that one chair left, and he said, I wonder who that belongs to. When I saw that, I said, that's Black Adam's chair.
Yeah.
So now this is like a prequel. So they're gonna grandfather these old characters into the new DCEU, right? Which I like. Do you think, Stormy, that this Black Adam film, being that they casted The Rock, which is perfect. 10 years ago when he said I wanted to play Black Adam, I said perfect. Because if you see him in the comic book, only thing is Black Adam has black hair and pointy ears. I was wondering, are they going to just put the hair on him or whatever? But I'm cool with how he is now.
Right.
Perfect casting. He doesn't need a buff suit like the guy playing Shazam, because The Rock is a big dude.
Right.
Do you think that this film will save the DCEU. I think it will.
I think it's going to go a long way toward bringing them to where the ideology originally was, with the vision. Because I've seen the trailers for it, and I'm very impressed with the special effects. I'm very impressed with the casting. They got Pierce Brosnan in there playing Dr. Fate.
Perfect, man.
They got my man Aldous Hodge in there, and he's playing Hawkman, and you know who I wanted him to play. And they just have so many people that are a part of this, and a lot of that has to do with The Rock, because they say that Rock has a lot of influence on his films, particularly with casting, like who he's opposite on film. He has a great chemistry with people that he's worked with, and he has a lot to say for that. And I'm very excited. And he told them, hold off on Shazam meeting Black Adam for a minute, because he says, first of all, Black Adam needs to meet Superman. And that was, he called for that, because remember, they were going to try to link Shazam, Fury of the Gods, to Black Adam's film, and The Rock niched that. He was like, no, not yet, because we're world building. Because guess what? We've had the Justice League. We got Aquaman, Flash, Batman, Superman, and Cyborg, right? We got them, right? But in the Black Adam film, they got the Justice Society.
People, that's different.
Exactly. It's different. And it's like, that's a whole universe of characters when you combine them all, right? So it's like they're building this out, man. And I'm excited about it, because I'm the kind of person, like, I read DC and Marvel comics coming up, and there were certain characters that I gravitated toward and others I didn't read at all. But the whole point of it is like, when you can get those live action stories cinematically and they be hitting on the proper keys and signals, man, it's like, you know, like I remember the first Iron Man film. I was in the theater and they showed a trailer for it, and I was like, what the hell? Because I at that time I wasn't dialed in
at first. Yeah,
I wasn't dialed in like I am now. And it was Robert Downey Jr. that's playing Iron Man, and guess what? In the trailer, they showed him in the Mach 1 suit, and you know, the big clunky one, and then they showed at the end of the trailer him zooming across the sky in the Mark 3 suit, but they didn't show nothing else of that. And I remember when I saw the film in the theater, I was like, man, this is some badass stuff right here. Like when they showed him suiting up and the thing was all of that. And I remember Jon Favreau had done an interview, which is why he's so successful with Lucasfilms on Disney Plus, what they're doing with the Star Wars stuff right now. They asked Jon Favreau about when he was making Iron Man. He said, listen, everybody loves the hero's story of triumph. He's like, when you have like Iron Man's first flight or Iron Man suiting up, he said, you can't gloss over those moments. You have to take the moments and take the audience on a journey through that process so that they can feel like they're that guy, you know, and it makes you feel for the character. It makes you like, so remember in the first Iron Man film, when he was flying his first flight, on his way out of the garage, he scraped up against the wall and everything. He went up in the clouds. He told Jarvis, let's see how high we can go, because the highest record for one of the planes was so many thousand feet up, and the suit froze up. Yeah. And then he fell out of the sky. And he was like, you gotta, you know, defrost the ice, and and finally he did it just before he hit the ground, and he took back off, and he was like, "Yeah!" He screamed like that. And I'm gonna tell you, when I was in the audience, everybody screamed with him, like, "Yeah!" Because it's like they felt like he was getting ready to crash.
Those little moments, man. You know what got me in the trailer? I saw the trailer at I believe Comic-Con, and only a few people knew what it was. But when I saw it, I was like, no way. Because I kind of figured they were building a Marvel universe. And for those of you that are new to it, that big clunky suit, that's the original Iron Man suit. It was gray and clunky.
Yeah.
And when they ran up him and shot him in the back of the head and it bounced off, and they played Black Sabbath, Iron Man, I was like, oh, that's what got me. It was like, bing, and then he turned around and stood up. It was like, dan, dan, dan. I was like, oh, take my money. Take my money, man. That got me. I was like, oh my God. But those moments, like the Black Adam trailer, you know what got me? Well, I was going to see it anyway, but when they showed Dr. Fate and they got the camera looking up and you see having a brain fart.
Adam.
Adam.
Yeah.
You see him giant and he's running. I said, shit, that looked dope.
It looked better than Ant-Man, didn't it?
Yeah.
It looked better than Ant-Man when Ant-Man grows tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I was like, man, this is dope. And in fact, they made Hawkman black. There's a story behind that. I want to see where they're gonna go. I'm not gonna say anything now, but for those of you that watched the Justice League cartoon, you never in a comic book you assume he was a Hawkman all these years was a white guy, but I don't want to ruin it. It's something that they're doing, and it's something I think that they're doing, but whatever. But it's not a bad thing. I'm just wondering where they're going, but whatever. But I'm amped to see the movie. But those little things in those films make you say, "Oh shit!" Catch you. Oh, salute to the chat, y'all. I see all of y'all. Salute to y'all.
Yeah, salute to everybody. We're chopping it up so much. We're not forgetting anybody, but Sheena, Watcher, appreciate all you guys out
David
there.
Scott, salute.
David Scott, Big Dog, Big PGH, Big Dog. Who else we got? Theseus GQ, Jab Jamboree.
Oh, he got in the Hulk Buster suit.
Yeah,
when he first did that, that was crazy.
Listen, man, the one thing that I really liked was the fact that Stark's suit up moments were always awesome. They were always awesome. The one at the racetrack when he went over there, and the suitcase.
You know why that was important? I remember in the comic book, Tony Stark had an alcohol problem, so he gave up. My brother has the book still. I think it came out in '86. He said, "I can't." The comic book cover is crazy. He says, "I can't be Iron Man anymore. You do it." And when I read the comic book, it was his best friend Rhodes, who was a black guy. And in the comic book, he had to learn how to fly it because Tony was an alcoholic. But when he came back, Rhodey kept the gold suit, and he had the silver and red one when he came back, and he had like triangle shoulders. I said, man, that's dope. So in the movie, when he was fighting Whiplash, later called Blacklash in the comic books, when he took the suitcase out, I said, oh, that's a silver and red suit. Man, Marvel, they don't skip a beat, man. They don't also they got so you got to be an absolute nerd to pick that up.
His suit up moments are so awesome, man. There was someone on YouTube that put together all of the Stark suit up moments from the films that Iron Man appeared in.
Yeah.
That's a nice video. Just watching him suit up, man. It's like, that is so dope, man.
Even when he suits up, even if he suits off. Remember when he landed on the roof and the machines came and started taking things off? Man, And that's
And he never stopped walking. He was walking, and they was taking it off of him while he was in stride. Remember?
Yeah, man.
Like, man,
great stuff, man. That's great stuff, man. But I'm looking forward to the Black Adam film. Did I miss? Did you discuss Marvel at all yet?
No. And I hadn't even gone into the cast and recasting story yet because I was waiting. I was waiting for you. But yeah, one of the things I wanted to speak about was the only thing I had mentioned up to you coming in was the fact that they fired Henry Cavill. You know, that whole thing, unbelievable that they would do something like that. And there was a never said thing, you know, because people were wondering, it's like, why they not making another Superman? And Henry Cavill never said anything. He never said like, well, they don't want me back or nothing. He didn't say that. He just said the cape is still in the closet. That's what he was saying. So kudos to him for being a good guy, for not, because he could have said something and just been done with the character.
Done with it. I mean? Yeah.
But no, one of the big stories about cast and recast is the fact that recently we're hearing that William Hurt, who passed away a few months ago,
no way,
General Ross, his character is important to the Marvel universe because General Ross, who was always hunting down Banner and Hulk, and in the MCU is looking for what Banner has in him. He wants it for himself. He even said it in the film, in The Incredible Hulk. He says, I want that. He was like, I want it in me. You know, he was saying that. Yeah. But he goes on in the comics to become Red Hulk.
Red Hulk, yeah.
After taking the serum and mixing that blood in with himself, he becomes the Red Hulk. So William Hurt, who passed away, they still feel that the character is important to what they're going to be doing in the future. And so they've hired Harrison Ford to take over the character of General Ross. And they were going to announce it at that convention that they just had a couple of months ago. But because Harrison Ford is doing one last Indiana Jones film, and that's what they brought him in to talk about, Kathleen Kennedy, who's over there with Lucasfilms and everything that will be producing the Indiana Jones film, she didn't want Marvel to announce that at that time. But it has recently just been announced. I'm talking about within the past 10 days or something. It has been confirmed that Harrison Ford will be taking over as General Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU.
That's definite?
It's definite.
That is, definite. Man, that's ill. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's dope. I like it. Hey, man.
Yeah. So,
I'm with it.
I mean, Harrison Ford as General Thunderbolt Ross, and William Hurt was not a bad actor at all.
Not at all.
It's just that the man passed away, and nobody saw that coming. We're mortal beings, and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And it just so happened that it wasn't like he was so ill or something. I think he just had a heart attack or something, and
something that happened from what I heard.
So and let's just say that Harrison Ford is pretty much the same age as William Hurt. I think he's 70 something years old. So these are not young men. But he's going to go ahead and take over that role, which means that we are going to see Red Hulk. They didn't bring this man in here for us not to see Red Hulk. And just think about it. They can put his face into Red Hulk just like they did what's his name that plays the Incredible Hulk. You know, they can put his face in there to make it look like it's him, you know. Which is, it's going to be interesting, man, to see that going forward. Your thoughts?
I like it, man. You know, we grew up on Harrison Ford, man.
Yeah, of course.
You know, I may have seen every movie he's ever been in. At some point, I may have seen everything. I bet you I don't. Nerd fact. I bet you I don't know the one movie he was a villain in. I might not know that, but yeah, I may have seen that. But I like this. This is a great transition. You know, welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, man. I was waiting for him to show up.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to show up, man. I mean, I like it. So this is definite, man. That's great, man. I'm so sorry this brother had to pass. You know, it's life. Some things happen, but this is I really don't mind this replacement. He's a great actor. You know, he's just gonna grow that mustache out, and you know, Thunderbolt Ross.
Thunderbolt Ross, and you know, Harrison Ford is a great actor too. So it's like we may see some great stuff out of him playing this character. They must have something really big, you know, in the wings with that character, because a lot of people were thinking that if you followed the film Black Widow and some of the early Disney Plus shows like Captain America and the Winter Soldier and what was the other one, Loki, and those shows, Ross had hired Julia Dreyfus, you know, the actress, to do some of his bidding. She's going around making a team of people like Nick Fury did. And we were thinking that when William Hurt passed, that they would just pass things on to her responsibility. But no, her character is going to remain whoever she is, but Thunderbolt Ross is still going to be there. And the team that they put together, the Thunderbolts, they have a film that's coming, or at least a series that's coming, and that's where that name comes from. So all of this is really building towards something. And it was just announced earlier today that Robert Downey Jr. may be coming back for Secret Wars, just like Chris Evans may be coming back for Secret Wars. And they may not necessarily be playing the same Cap and Iron Man. They may be playing variants, you know, from another universe or something.
Another universe, yeah.
So, you know, and word has it that John Krasinski is coming back again as Mr. Fantastic, and it's not totally off the table that he'll be Mr. Fantastic for the regular MCU as well. So, and his wife Emily Blunt is now open to playing Sue Storm, whereas months ago the word was that she wasn't really interested. So, man, that's why you hear me talk about cast and recast. It's
I don't know who. Everyone in Hollywood should be jumping. But you know, I don't know what's going on. You know, I'm not in no skin, but you know, me, you know, this to me, you know, this is a short check right here. You know what I mean? This is easy work. If they come to you and ask, hey, you want to play Sue Richards? Yeah, just say yeah and worry about it later.
Have you seen got nothing to do. The two Quiet Place movies?
Yes.
Dude, are they awesome or what?
Yo,
and that's John Krasinski directing and starring in those films, bro, and his wife.
It's a slept-on film, and that's perfect because when you think about it, she looks like Sue Richards.
She was originally hired to play Black Widow. Emily Blunt was originally hired to play Black Widow, but she had a scheduling problem. She was playing something else and couldn't get free. So then they later went with Scarlett Johansson. So it's like it was Black Widow would have been Emily Blunt years ago.
Right. Wow. Man, listen.
Isn't that something?
It's an exciting time, man. I gotta tell you. It's an exciting time. Hopefully, we're going into phase 5 now, right? In Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Goodbye, phase 4. That pissed me off.
And they're saying that the whole thing about phase 4, how it's been so iffy and people didn't like a lot of things, they're actually pumping the brakes on a lot of the things that they were originally going to do, and they're changing it. Like, instead of having these little series, you know, where they a character and they're showing like several episodes, they're not going to do that anymore. They're going to, like, you know, like Echo from Daredevil, you know, hers may not be a series anymore. It may just be like a show. like where it's an hour and a half or something like that, where they get a chance to tell a complete story like a film. And because they're finding like people are not feeling some of these stretched out stories like the Marvels and stuff like that, that people didn't, you know.
Yeah, just sum it up in an hour. You could sum the stuff up in maybe you could sum this stuff up in an hour, like Werewolf by Night. They did that.
Yeah. Now that's what made them decide to change. I
Right.
forgot to say that Werewolf by Night, because it was pretty darn good, and you know, it was like a movie, a mini film.
You see the brother in the chat, Grand Regent Thrag, said Wolf by Night. That name, when we cover Invincible, I'm gonna tell you who Thrag is. When we cover Invincible, that's a character out of the comic Invincible that I told you about.
Yes.
Man, listen, that's a slept on series. But anyway, I appreciate them doing that. They don't need to shove these like 5-week miniseries in our face with these characters that really no one cares about. To be honest, I really don't care about Echo.
Yeah.
I don't care about it enough like that. Sum it up in about maybe a 60-minute special. I didn't even watch Miss Marvel. I mean, the Marvels. I didn't even watch it, to be honest.
I saw like the first 2 episodes, and I was like, man, I ain't gonna sit through this.
Those things will appear to the kids. You understand? I really didn't. I didn't really care for it. Yeah, Grand Regent Thrag. Yeah, when I get to the series, it's gonna be, because we gotta take our time with that. Champion Heart salute. We gotta take our time with that. It's crazy.
You know, She-Hulk introduced Hulk's son in this final episode and everything.
Anticlimactic. Yeah. You know, we got to get out this phase 4 because it's bad, man. It was anticlimactic, and there was a lot of things that, put it like this, I think I could have did a better job. Yeah, bro. When we cover Invincible, Stormy, I gotta bring you up to speed with that. When we cover that, it is picture Krypton being a bunch of dicks, but they're not like Dragon Ball. They're not like the Saiyans, because the Saiyans were being controlled by somebody. But these guys got it under control, and they got their strongest people, and they went out and just started. Imagine Superman lands here, and he's saving everybody, but then 20 years he says, all right, guess what? I'm running the show here. You're gonna do what I say, or I will fly into the core and blow y'all up, and that'll be the end of it. What are you gonna do? We're like, oh shit. What are you gonna do? Fight him? You can't. Those are the Veltramites. We'll get to the story, man, but it's a great story, man. It's a great story. There's nothing you could do about it, but I'll get to it, man. It's so dope, man. It's so dope. But listen, this thing with Marvel, I think Phase 5 can save it, because Phase 4, to me, it frustrated the hell out of me. I like Harrison Ford being casted. We spoke about how we feel. They recasting Thunderbolt Ross. They can't recast fucking Black Panther.
Look here, man, and that's one of the things I wanted to say about this, man.
Let's get it.
You know, and I want to give a special shout out to a brother out there that has a channel, and I watch his stuff for updates, and he started the whole Recast T'Challa movement. That's Eamon's Reviews. He has a channel out here on YouTube. If you're a geek and you love comic book material, movies or whatever, go give that brother a subscribe. He does great stuff, and he's been on television. He's been here in Chicago talking about the Recast T'Challa because the petition is huge, and it all started with him. And he just wanted to ask the question to Marvel, why would you take such a significant character from the universe, and just because the actor that played him for the first time passed away, and he's like, the character is too integral to take him off the table as a major chess piece player. And Kevin Feige recently came out, I'm talking about, this was in the past 10 days, and gave an interview with, I think, Empire magazine or something, where he talked about the reason that they had originally decided to not recast T'Challa is because it was too close to Chad's death or whatever, and they were going on with, you know, the Black Panther film and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, that's not a good excuse.
It's not.
And I do believe they dropped the ball with that. But I'm going to tell you guys, just like I said about this, and Drew, you knew I talked about it too. The gentleman that's playing Hawkman in Black Adam, Aldous Hodge, how can this guy get passed over as the new T'Challa?
That's crazy how they did that.
Him. He looks a lot like
ball.
Chad. And he's physically in shape. He's the proper age, everything. You could have brought this young man in to play. I got that link, Drew. I see it.
Okay. I'll tell you what that is in a minute.
Yeah, this gentleman here, and he's on your clip that you play. Oh, you know, we don't like allow so-and-so's in the house.
Yeah,
you know, that was him, you know.
That's him. That's him.
From One Night in Miami.
Yep.
But the man is a good actor too. He's on television shows on Netflix and stuff. It's like, this guy's a good actor, bro. They dropped the ball.
I don't know when they started shooting Black Adam. You know what I mean? But the Black Panther's been in play for a while, and it would have been.
Had a delay. They even had a delay because the girl hurt herself. The girl that plays Shuri, she hurt herself. She got injured on the set, and she was out. She was laid up for like 3 months or something. So they had to shut down production as a result of her getting hurt. And then they had the COVID delays initially when they first went into production.
They could have got anybody to look. They could have got someone else to play Hawkman. And I see what Thrag says in the chat. Hawkman notoriously has been a white character since I was a child. You understand? You know, I appreciate him being casted as Hawkman, but I'll just go ahead and say it: Hawkman, Hawkwoman in the animation gets with the Green Lantern, the black one, and they make a baby. The baby is Warhawk, and he's a mixed child. So I don't know what the fuck they're doing here, but whatever. But Marvel should have picked him up. It's no disrespect to Chadwick Boseman.
Not at all. And because this man is such a quality actor, I think he would have did his damnedest to come in there and play that character. Imagine this guy facing off against Namor. Not a new Black Panther, not Shuri as the Black Panther, but imagine this guy right here. They miss how. Listen, I'm not a casting agent. I don't know a lot of actors and stuff, but when I saw the guy, let me tell you something. This is how I got hip to Aldous Hodge. I watched Regina King's One Night in Miami. I sat down and watched it, and as I'm looking at it, because he played Jim Brown, and I'm saying to myself, he's playing Jim Brown pretty cool, because, you know, Jim Brown spoke a certain kind of way and had a certain way he carried himself and everything. Even the guy that played Ali in there was pretty good.
Pretty damn good, yeah.
The guy that played Sam Cooke. Regina King did a great job. She should win some awards for directing that if she didn't. But she did a great job. If you guys haven't checked out One Night in Miami, I think it's on Netflix. Please check it out. It's
really
great.
Good film.
It's a great movie about a time when Malcolm X, Ali, Jim Brown, and Sam Cooke all came together when Ali won the heavyweight title from Sonny Liston. and it's one night that they were all together in Miami in a hotel room and everything, and it tells their story. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty damn good. But I'm sitting there and I'm watching this movie, and I'm looking at Aldous Hodge, and I'm like, this dude could be the new Black Panther.
Easy work.
I was like, because I saw that film last year. It's not that old. So Chad had already passed away.
Right.
So I'm looking at it, I was like, this guy could be the new Black Panther. How can they not see that shit, man? Seriously.
They're not fans like us like that, man. They done recasted Rhodey. Now they recasted Thunderbolt Ross.
Thunderbolt Ross.
We had a few recastings in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And the Rhodey, come on, bro. Come on. From a light-skinned nigga to a dark-skinned nigga.
I know, right?
Come on, bro.
And to be perfectly honest with you, there's nothing wrong with Don Cheadle. I think some of his best work was that Hotel Rwanda, The Devil in the Blue Dress. Don Cheadle was great, man. Talk to Me. All of these shows. He played Miles Davis. Don Cheadle's a great actor, but what's his name? Terrence Howard was a better Rhodey. He actually had better on-screen chemistry with Robert Downey Jr. than Don Cheadle did. I know they had some things, funky business behind the scenes, but that was Marvel's fault because they paid that man all that money to play in the first Iron Man film, and then told him he was going to take a huge pay cut for the sequel because the first film blew up. But remember, he was coming off an Oscar nomination and everything,
right?
And Robert was coming out of rehab. So I mean, come on. Yeah. So that's how he got booted off of it just don't make sense to me, man, that Terrence Howard should have still been Rhodey. Could you imagine him suiting up, having the action scenes? And he would have enjoyed it because I don't think that Terrence Howard took it as serious because, he don't appear to me to be like us. He's not a geek like us about the comic book films and everything. But almost all of the guys who took on roles in Marvel where they played a character more than one time, they all seem to fall in love with their characters because they like, I didn't know it could be this much fun. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? So Terrence Howard never got that opportunity.
It was a missed opportunity, man, and those are the things that make you wonder about Marvel. How do you not recast T'Challa? It's okay, you're not disrespecting the brother at all. You're just recasting it. Because
and then there's this thing about he might have a son and everything. So now you got another black child with no daddy figure, right? Come on, man. We've seen that shit before.
We've seen it, man. We see it. We still dealing with it with Creed. It's been done. So now you have a epic.
You already had it with Killmonger.
Yeah. See? And now he might have a son that he wasn't married. These are the messages that you know what I'm saying? Just recast the effing character. Hopefully, being that Marvel is doing all this universe jumping and stuff, hopefully they have a situation. I know in the comic books they had a situation where they were blowing up other worlds and people from other planets in the other dimensions was coming over in the other dimensions. So you'll have two of the same character, like the Spider-Man. There's like three different Peters.
Supposedly that end credit scene with Charlize Theron in Doctor Strange, when she comes and opens up that portal and says she needs Strange's help, I think that's kind of like what that's leading to, because that's going to lead to Secret Wars, because there's something happening, these convergence or divergence or whatever they're calling it. She came to get Strange for his help. And also that character that she's playing in the comics, her character and Doctor Strange get married. Yeah. So, you know, hopefully what you're leading on to, that may be something in a way to bring either Reed Richards or you know what I'm saying? It'll be a way to bring these characters into the MCU 616 world. But I mean, dude, you cannot take T'Challa off the table. T'Challa is so important. He's every bit as important as Captain America or Iron Man or even Spider-Man and Peter Parker. He's every bit as important as that. I mean, with the intelligence, the technology, his skill, his intellect, all of this stuff. It's like you just removed him and we were just getting ready to get to know the guy.
Let me tell you something else. Look at what they've done. They've dug up the two Spider-Men from the other previous films and brought them in. So we had all three of them together. They done recasted Rhodey in front of our face. They recasted Thunderbolt Ross, and they're not going to explain no interdimensional shit. We just going to turn it on. It's going to be Harrison Ford. We're going to deal with it. Like how Rhodey said, "Look, I'm here. Let's just deal with it." We're like, "Oh, okay." We're not going to talk. We don't even talk about Terrence Howard anymore. You understand? There's no reason why they can't do that with the T'Challa character, because that character is too important. He's genius level. Everything that happened in the comic books, he was involved in directly. He's a genius level. He's a king. You just don't get rid of that character at all, man. You don't do it. You don't do it.
Man,
bring him back.
When I think of him in the Marvel universe that we've seen of T'Challa so far, it's that speech he gave at the United Nations at the end of the Black Panther film. I think about that. I think about at the end of which film was that? Where was it the Captain America movie? Which one was it where they had to get old boy who made Civil War. When Cap in the end credit scenes told him, because they had Bucky and they put Bucky in stasis, and he was like, you know they're gonna try to come for you. He was like, let them try. You know what I mean? And then they showed the damn Panther out in the mist. Out. Dude, epic. I was like so excited because I'm like, man, they getting ready to do it. They getting ready to show this character. And the other scene was from Infinity War when him and Cap ran out on the battlefield.
Do you remember that?
Drew, I get chills still thinking about that. Seeing that scene.
Let me see if I just want to find that one clip.
When him and Cap running down the field together, man, running into battle. That was one of the baddest scenes ever, you know? That right there.
Look, okay. It's a 29-second clip. You think they'll let us rock?
Well, we're pretty much near the end of the show. Let's try.
All right, let's see. That scene was ridiculous, man. No sound. I'm not doing no sound.
It's fine. I got music playing. We could
look
talk.
At this. Look. Oh my God.
Oh man, that is one of
the coolest
moments in cinematic history, bro. When you
look how they accelerated.
Yeah, man.
Oh, they wanted all the smoke. Look at that.
And they did put T'Challa out front a little bit. They did put him out there.
Yo,
but they still had the same approach to it all.
M'Baku's my guy, though.
Yeah, M'Baku is all right, man. He's all right. But yeah, that was awesome, man. I remember in the theater, people were cheering when they showed that.
Briefly, the link I shared with you, that was from a short film. I don't know if you saw it. It's called Dirty Laundry.
No, I haven't seen it.
That is what you call. Remember the first Punisher film?
Yeah.
Okay, what is that actor's name? I forget his name. But he played the Punisher in the first film. And remember when they released the second film, Punisher Warzone? That was more accurate to the violent Punisher graphic novels. But the first Punisher film, that was kind of like Fugazi with John Travolta. But this film, let me go back. There it is. Yeah. Let me see if I could I think Stormy froze. Stormy, you froze? Uh-oh. Stormy's froze. Damn it. The live is still running. The live is still running, y'all. But if y'all haven't seen, okay, you there? Okay, great.
Yeah, it froze up.
Yeah. All right. That is called the first Punisher film with John Travolta. What was that actor's name? I forget his name all the time.
Oh, they played the Punisher?
Yeah.
That's the dude from Highland too.
Highlander, yeah.
Highlander, yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of his name right now, but yeah.
Okay, so they did Punisher Warzone. That was based more off the graphic novels. That's why that second movie was like super violent. But this one, he did this, and I swear to you, they needed to do a sequel movie with him like this. I'm watching it, right? It's only 10 minutes, and I'm watching it, and he goes to the laundromat, and this little black kid is getting bullied by the drug dealers. They're making him do something with the drugs, and he's trying not to get involved, and then they beat up this girl, and then he gets involved, and he ends up kicking all their ass, right? I'm like, what is this? He goes back in the laundromat, takes his shirt out the dryer. It's the skull. I said, oh my God, this is how the whole movie should have been with him in it. This is how it was supposed to be, man. But God, dog it, man. Watch it when you get, that's why I shared the link. Watch it when you get a chance. It's called Dirty Laundry, but it's a Punisher film.
Yeah.
Also, did you know in the second Spider-Man film with Tobey Maguire, remember the scene where Jane was running through the park with a wedding dress?
Yeah.
Punisher was in that scene. She
Wow.
ran right past him and he turned around. I was like, oh, look at what they're doing. So this Punisher is from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's universe. And I heard they were talking about doing a crossover, but it never took off. But Punisher Dirty Laundry. That's a great 10-minute film, man. I liked it, man.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I know you doing your show tonight, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna get ready to wrap this up so you could get ready to do your show. But again, a great conversation, man. When we do these shows, man, this is what it's all about, man. You know, geeking out on this stuff, and we still have more material that we could talk about. It's just that we're pressed for time. But yeah, this is give us some final thoughts, man.
I'm a big old nerd and I'm proud. This is the link in the chat, y'all, to Dirty Laundry, Punisher Dirty Laundry. I'm putting it in there. I'm a big old nerd. I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I grew up on comic books and I draw. I still draw. And I'm Stormy. I'm gonna put together a short video of all my boy statues that he got, like I told you. Yeah, I'm gonna put together all of that stuff, and I'm gonna send it to you so you can air it. You know, yeah, man. And this is what it's all about. Because sometimes, you know, we got to get away from boxing because it runs my blood pressure up. You know, I got a conversation tomorrow morning, and I don't want to do it, but I got to do it. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't do it. But this is the calm before the storm. You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
So Much love and appreciation, Stormy, man. I love Mondays, man. I really do. I look forward to this. I really do.
Yeah, it's it's something I really enjoy. Again, this is my thing. I like it too, so I'm there. But yeah, we're gonna get on out of here. We appreciate everybody that came in this evening. You guys that are geeks out there, I saw someone in the chat say that Eamon's Reviews is their man. So if you know who I'm talking about when I say that, share the show, man. Let people know that we're doing this. We're just getting started on this, but Nerds on Culture is a great experience for you to relive aspects of your lives when it comes to what you hold near to yourself. Nerddom. So
Nerddom.
Hey.
Yeah.
So shout out to the mighty LDBC. We're gonna get on up out of here. You guys can take the same energy right on over to Drew's channel, his other channel for the Painful Excellent podcast, and we'll catch you guys next Monday for another Nerds on Culture, man. This is how we do it here. Peace to everybody. All right, we up.
Yep.